Alright, so the last video was a bit rushed at the end. And yeah, I just want to let you take note of this that um, the iodine test was done on this variegated leaf, and you see that it is the green parts that are stained blue-black because they contain starch, and the white parts are not stained blue-black because they don't contain starch. So these kind of questions are quite common in the O levels. They will tend to give you different type of experiments, for example, this experiment or this experiment, and they'll ask you what are the expected results, like let's say when you do a starch test. So just be prepared for that sort of question. And there is a sort of extension. You might be interested in knowing how the color of light affects photosynthesis. So there are experiments where we put plants in red light and green light, and we ask ourselves, is there more photosynthesis in red light or green light? If you're interested to find out more, you can look at the textbook on this page. Finally, just a brief point, do you notice any other factors that might affect the rate of photosynthesis? Right, so far we looked at things like whether there's carbon dioxide, whether there's light, whether there's chlorophyll, right? Of course, whether there's water as well. But what other factors might affect the rate of photosynthesis in these kind of experiments? Well, maybe you realize that actually things like the age of the leaf, maybe older leaves photosynthesize more or less. In fact, even the size of the leaf or the type of the leaf, right? Maybe certain plants photosynthesize more or less. Okay, so sometimes these are things that we also need to control during experiments. So we tend to use the same type of leaves or the same type of plant because these things also affect photosynthesis. Okay, that's done. Good job for your first lesson in my absence. Right, please go ahead and do worksheet 1. Practice on your knowledge of photosynthesis and hand it in by Friday. Alright, that's all. Thank you. Have a good week ahead.